Hello, good evening. I told you I might dance again. Hello, it's 7 o'clock. It's Tuesday, 7 o'clock in London. Who's going to join me for a bit of a jump start to your midlife? Got some really good stuff coming up today. It's going to be an exciting session. I'm very excited. Very excited. I'll turn the music down a little bit. It's quite nice, isn't it? It's my official Facebook music again. So, a little bit funky this time, bit of R&B. So how have you been today? Have you had a good day? Are you still in the middle of your day? So perhaps you are. I don't know. Let me know where you're watching from. Say hello, otherwise I won't know you're here. Yeah. So let's kick it off, shall we? So here we are with. Actually, I've turned it off in the wrong place. So let me bring that back up a bit. I'll turn it off over here because that's what I want to do, really. Ha! There we go. So I didn't turn off the volume. So hello and welcome to part 2 of my Midlife Jumpstart Workshop. And I'm very excited that you're here. Thank you for joining me. I am Rachel Lancaster and I am the founder of the Mutton Club, and which is an online hub and global community for women in midlife and beyond. And I'm also the founder of Mutton Mastery, which is our private membership program, which is very, very exciting. So welcome to part 2 of this free workshop, Midlife Jumpstart. In this section of the workshop, I'm going to show you how you can really accept and believe in yourself and move ahead quickly to personal growth. This will help you feel more excited about the opportunities to come. Because there's lots of opportunities to come. That's the whole point of this jumpstart, okay? So if you're feeling a bit lost and maybe lacking in confidence, but you're not sure how you can learn to really love and believe in yourself, or perhaps you're feeling better than you have in a long time, but maybe you're still struggling with some negative thoughts about aging, for example, you'll discover how women like us can accept ourselves, dream big and really, really flourish, and why it's critical you focus on this right now, because there's no more time to waste, is there? So in my last Facebook Live on Sunday, I talked about how important self-belief is for creating a vibrant and fulfilling life. It really is the crux of it. You've got to start with self-belief. I shared how changing perceptions of yourself, particularly as you age, is going to immediately help you feel inspired to leap off that midlife hamster wheel, you know, the one that just goes round and round and you're not really sure where you're going or when you're going to get off it. So that changes and you really start seeing real progress and you moving forward. I also told you about the results of our poll in our private Facebook group, The Flock, and how staying and getting fit was one of the biggest challenges for our members. And I shared some of the things you can do to start prioritizing fitness in your life. Now, I have a small gift to share with you related to that, which I'll share later on at the end of the talk. So stick with me, but hopefully you'll find it useful. So if you haven't seen that first live broadcast, you may want to go and watch it now even, and pause this one and go and watch that one first and come back for the replay of this one, or just carry on and watch it later. It's entirely up to you, but it's lovely to have you here. Thank you. So today I'm going to build on what we discussed by sharing the number one thing you must master if you want to accept yourself and flourish. Think of this as the first step towards making it happen. And this is an entirely new way of thinking about getting older as a woman, so you'll want to pay close attention. I'm also going to share how to tap into your potential big dream, even if you've forgotten how to dream big and have no idea where to start. When you know how to do this, you'll know exactly what you want to aim for, at least. The goal is to break you free of negative thinking and limiting beliefs, those horrid negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. They can cause so much trouble. So we've got a lot to cover today, so you may want a pen and paper ready to take some notes as you follow along. Now I'm just going to check and say, Susie's here again. Yay! Hello, Susie. Good to see you. Susie's in California. Fantastic. Where is everybody else watching from? Susie, I hope you're not driving tonight. Are you driving? or if you're going to be safe if you are driving. You're only listening, right? Anyway, so who else is here? Do tell me where you're from. As I said last time, this is a workshop, it's not a lecture. So if you have questions and comments along the way, please let me know in the comments. I really want to know what you think and what you feel about what I'm saying and what's going on in your life. So let's jumpstart this business together, okay? So anytime you're trying to change things about yourself and your world, it's inevitable you'll hit roadblocks. You might have experienced some of those already. Things like being stuck in the middle between caring for kids and parents, being stuck in a dead-end job, and you see younger women in particular seemingly thriving, although maybe they're not. But maybe you're struggling with menopause symptoms. You're wondering where to focus when you don't have kids like other women. And even maybe you're accepting society's prevailing narrative that we're past it. Well, we are not past it. This is when life starts to get really interesting. That is what I know to be true. But if any of this sounds familiar, it's totally normal. It comes with the territory that it's not going to be necessarily easy. But if you simply accept this at face value, you'll never embrace who you really are and can be and thrive as you deserve to. And I know where you're coming from. I get that it feels like most of it may be out of your hands. It's frustrating to come up against these things, isn't it? I've been there myself, and I've seen other women in midlife and beyond go through the same thing. And it's especially stressful because you know that getting past these challenges is key to helping you embrace who you are now and moving forward. So in this video, I'm going to make it easy for you. I'll help you avoid those usual headaches by showing you some simple steps that will helpfully move you on quicker and easier with a lot less frustration. It took me a very long time to move from my midlife crisis, what I call my midlife crisis when I went through early menopause, to being who I am now. And I want it to be so much easier for you if you're in a similar situation. And if you're not in a similar situation, then I think there's still bits and pieces that you can apply, because there's going to be some juicy stuff, okay? So stick with me. But before we go any further, it's important I bring your attention to something that often gets overlooked as you begin to see this on a practical level. And ignoring this virtually guarantees you'll have a tough time trying to embrace who you really are and grow. It's easy to think of midlife as the beginning of a downhill slope. It's what society says, after all, isn't it? It's what newspaper headlines suggest. It's what not so funny birthday cards suggest. Just go into any card shop and you'll see that it's all downhill from here at 40 or all down here from here at 50. And you might as well give it all up at 60 or beyond. Goodness me, it really, really annoys me. But this is a very, very dangerous assumption to make. And I don't want you falling into this trap. But at some point, most of us believe this is true. I did once. You know, I was ageist towards my future self at 41 when I felt catapulted into middle age with my early menopause. But remember what I said in the last video, that it is exactly that. So don't be mean towards your future self. And if you buy into ageist narratives now and put them, you know, against yourself, where will you be when you're in your 80s? It's just not worth it. But this big assumption is why I think a lot of women do struggle in midlife and beyond. But coming up, I'm going to reveal the truth behind the old belief that midlife is the beginning of a downward slope. And more importantly, I'll share with you what you need to know instead. So let me just hang on over here. Oh, Susie says no. So I guess no, you're not driving. You're home. Good. I'm glad you're home. Laura Lee says hello. Yes, you have negative thoughts about aging. Oh, stick with me, Laura Lee, because am I pronouncing your name right? I hope so. Stick with me because it's great. I think some people think I'm mad, but honestly, I'm rebranding menopause. I'm rebranding aging. I'll share with you a bit later, but give you a tidbit now. We are happiest at the beginning and end of our lives. We actually get happier the older we get. So you have all of that to look forward to. So don't have negative thoughts about aging, but we're going to deal with some of that in this. Okay. So let's get into the detail of today's workshop, starting with challenging ageism, not just in society, but in ourselves. So I Honest question now. I'd love some honest answers. Do you ever catch yourself thinking that you're too old for something? Perhaps you're too old to go skydiving, for example, or you're too old to wear a certain outfit. So be honest. Tell me in the comments if you do this. I'm a member of a number of other midlife groups because I like to see what's going on and see what issues, you know, midlife and beyond women are dealing with. And it always surprises me when someone posts a photo saying, "Do you think I can get away with wearing this?" And I just want to go, "Oh, of course you jolly well." So I don't say jolly in my head. Of course you blinking well can, because you know it's about you. It's what you want to wear. It's nothing to do with anybody else. And these prescriptive ideas of what we can and can't wear, I just think are ridiculous. So Susie says, sometimes I struggle with being too old to be single. Really? Wow. Wow. Well, I think that's a bit bonkers too. I know of women who have met the love of their life, you know, very late in life, and who keep meeting the love of their life, who keep, you know, reinventing themselves. I know women, you know, on their third marriage, for example. I'm on my second. Yeah. So, goodness, attracting a mate. Yeah, but you know what, Susie? There is somebody out there, I really believe there's somebody out there for everybody. And it's all about being authentic and honest. And the more you believe in yourself and are comfortable with yourself, the more you will attract that mate. So yes, you're in the right place. Stick with me. So another question for you. Do you ever try to hide your age, or are you proud of how old you are? I keep telling everyone I'm 51, and I had a big party when I turned 50. And yet I know of many women who really don't want the world to know how old they are. We had a wonderful, wonderful testimonial. See if I can find it. On the Mutton Club page a while ago. It was from a lovely lady called Paula. And she said, I will turn 50 this July, and I have been dreading it for the last couple of years. Thanks to this group and the posts I have read, I now actually feel good about it. I'm going to embrace it and celebrate it. For my last 9 birthdays, I've told people it was my 40th, but this year I will be proud to say it's my 50th. Thank you, Magnificent Midlife from the Mutton Club. I just love that. I love that. If you've heard me say it before, I apologise, but I really, that is so special. And the fact that that woman has had a complete mental shift in how she now perceives turning 50. I loved turning 50, I have to say, and I love being in my 50s. Yeah, I'm more confident and more comfortable than I've ever been. And from what I hear of women, you know, turning 60, it does get better. Yes, of course, there are age-related issues as we age, but there are always going to be issues at every stage of life, and they're different issues, I think. And it depends, I think, how open we are to that process as to how well we deal with those. So Susie says, no, I'm proud. Good on you, Susie. Lots Lorelei says. She says, I'm 52 and looking for a new job and feel there is some age discrimination out there. Oh, yes. I was just going to say that. Susie says, it's a fear that I struggle with being newly divorced at 52. Yeah, I can understand that. But seriously, be authentic, be honest. And, you know, you will be, the more you are you, I genuinely believe, the more attractive you are to the outside world. So yes, Lorelei, there's definitely ageism. Where are you, Lorelei? Are you where are you based? Are you in the UK or the US or somewhere else? Because I think in certain countries it's worse than others, isn't it? But and I was going to go on to say I can understand why women feel a need to hide their age, and part of the Mutton Club's mission is to change all of this, because in the workplace, yes, there can be dreadful ageism against older women, and maybe once people know our true age, that can kick in even more, but it really shouldn't be that way, should it? Yeah, part of the Mutton Club mission is to change that. Someone wrote the other day that on the National Health Service applications here in this country, in the UK, you still have to put your date of birth. And you also, I don't know whether, or you have to put the date that you graduated high school, basically, your GCSE, when you did those type of exams. And that immediately puts you, people can work out what your age is. And yeah, there is a lot of ageism, but we're fighting. We're going to fight it. We're going to fight it, and we're going to change it. That's what we're going to do. So I think it's particularly hard and particularly obvious, this ageism in the acting profession, isn't it? Because women actors seem to get totally lost in the middle between sex bomb and old crone. And for some of them, there's no work for decades. And I read of a former model trying again to be a model in her 50s. I thought this was really interesting, because I thought to a certain extent the fashion world, the beauty world, was beginning to embrace older models. But this woman, it appeared that she was basically being told to come back after another decade, you know, maybe when her wrinkles were a bit deeper and her hair had gone a bit whiter. I don't know. But there is that sort of wilderness, isn't there, in midlife, where we don't feature and companies don't market to us. We're not really in films and on TV. I think that's changing a little bit, but that middle ground is still a bit of a wasteland. And even when you've got a female lead, you'll often find that it's a male director. Even in the Oscars last Sunday, the men still won every category that they could win. It's just crazy, isn't it? So everything that was either, anybody could win, they won. The women only won the women categories. But have you seen Orange is the New Black? There's a new series coming soon. I'm a big fan. And I think that's really quite revolutionary, in that all the main characters are strong, interesting women. I love that. So change is happening, but it's slow, isn't it? But I honestly believe that society will only change in a big way when we bring about that change ourselves. I think the ageism fight has to start with us. I think we need to change the way we think about our own aging and what that means in a time-limited life. And when we say enough with the negative talk about women and aging, we're not having it anymore. Our best years are yet to come, and we know our value as more mature women. So I get particularly angry about anti-aging products. Oh, just drives me nuts. So do you remember a little while ago, Cara Delevingne, she's 25, and she was made the face of Dior's new anti-aging line. She's 25. But it's not just the message it sends to us, but what message does that send to younger women? That you get to 25 and you have to start applying products to look younger. So your beauty or your youth, because we're obsessed with youth, actually ends at 25, and that's when you need to start putting on all the products to stop any signs of aging. I don't know if you've seen the beauty video that the Mutton Club made, where that is all about how we believe that beauty evolves. It doesn't diminish, it evolves, and we don't dismiss the wonderful coppery leaves of autumn in favour of the spring blossom, do we? When you look at a tree, both are very beautiful. They're just different, and one is an evolution. So, oh my goodness, lots of comments from Susie. Oh, Laurelie, you're in Toronto. Oh, so in Canada you see age discrimination. I was going to say in the UK there certainly is. So Susie, what does Susie say? Still seems a taboo subject. Do you mean ageism in general? I would certainly agree. So Susie says, in the US, when girls start menses, they are given info by their moms and female role models. They receive sex ed in middle school. My girls were taught this by the band teacher. Oh, the teacher who looked after the band, the musical band, I guess. Yeah, that's crazy. And maybe given a pamphlet from their general physician about what to expect. When we begin menopause, typically our moms may not be there to share their experience and what we may experience, and many doctors don't address this as a major life transition proactively. I think that is key. I want to, another campaign, there's so many things I want to campaign on. I have so many soapboxes I want to get onto. But when we talk about, the sexual life of a woman. We talk about puberty, we talk about all that information, but menopause is never mentioned. So no wonder it comes as a massive surprise. It shouldn't be a surprise, should it? So I think it should be part of, it could be part of the biology, sex ed classes. That's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. Although it'd be nice to have it as part of a slightly more friendly version of the education. But it should be part of that curriculum for everybody, so that it's not a shock and that people know what to expect. Because people understand what puberty is, they understand what childbirth is, but they have no idea about menopause. Susie said, girlfriends may talk about it in hush-hush, but it's an uncomfortable conversation to have on a larger scale. And many women turn their head in order to avoid facing the idea of what comes next. I know. But also, because it's taboo, then that breeds fear, doesn't it? And, it's not something to be fearful of. It's so not. So not. Okay, so going back to anti-aging, I absolutely loathe that, because I think there's no point in being anti-aging. You might as well be anti-nighttime. And I also challenge those notions that say 60 is the new 40 or 50 is the new 30, or, I think 50 is the new 50 and 60 is the new 60. We're not our mothers and our grandmothers. Midlife for us is very different to what it was for them. But I don't need to feel younger to feel great. There's nothing wrong with getting older. There's nothing wrong with being in midlife. Some women, they say they don't like the word midlife. And I say, well, it's better than middle-aged, isn't it? But that's what we are. That's what I am. I don't have a problem with that. I'm probably, getting to the end of my midlife, I would say, because, I'm 51 now. Am I going to live to be 102? I'd love it. It's probably highly unlikely. So I've just got to face facts, haven't I, really? But in the flock just today, there was somebody had posted an image of some new age categories. And I think this was probably a joke. I don't know what it was, but it was from some newspaper. But it was putting middle age starting at 66. And I just thought, well, you can't be middle aged at 66 unless you plan on living to 132, can you? So I don't think, there's nothing wrong with being middle aged or in midlife. But it can be very frustrating being pigeonholed. But youth is great, midlife is great, getting older is great. Each age can be good, and it's a fact that, as I mentioned before, we get happier as we age. So I don't think we need to feel that we are a younger age to feel good. Let's just feel good for the age we are, whatever that is. I want us to embrace each wonderful age that we are, not try to pass it off as something younger than it is. So we are actually happiest at the beginning and end of our lives. Was that did I just see a little heart across the screen then or something? Oh yes, give me a little heart or a like or something. I always like those. And tell me where you're watching from, and please feel free to comment, make comments. This is a workshop, not a lecture. So tell me what you think of what I'm saying, and tell me what your experience is too. Okay. So in terms of midlife and getting older, I'm certainly happier now than I've ever been. I'm more confident, I'm more comfortable in my skin, and I'm increasingly aware that I need to make the most of my life because I don't have so much left of it. But there's a certain excitement to that as well, that I can be very proactive now about planning the time I have left, because so many people don't even reach this age, and we're lucky to be where we are, I reckon. So I want you to start challenging ageism whenever you see it or think it. I want you to catch ageist thinking and language whenever it comes up. So I've got some thoughts now from Ashton Applewhite. I mentioned her yesterday. She's the anti-ageism activist. And she has lots of thoughts on how to reevaluate society's narrative on aging. So first off, consider that longevity is a hallmark of human progress. We used to die in our 40s and 50s. Now we expect to live into our 80s if we enjoy good health. So that is progress. Aging is progress. And experience is irreplaceable. You have to age to get it. You can't get experience without aging. So that's another good thing. And age is a criterion for diversity. Mixed communities and workforces are much nicer places to be, and they perform better too. And ageism Ashton is really on a movement to do this, and I just think it's wonderful. It has to be as unacceptable as sexism and racism, and particularly because it hits women far worse than men, far, far worse. You know, what about all those male actors whose love interest is often 20 years their junior? You know, what's that all about? It's just mad, isn't it? And the older we get, the more diverse we get. So forget about those surveys that lump everyone into huge age categories, the over 40s, the over 50s, and then, 60 up? Because, or 70 up even, you know, some people might be old at 70, 75. Some people might be young at 85, 90. It really depends on the person. It depends on what's up here and how the body is working, doesn't it? But particularly, I think, what's up there. So personally, I would like you, and you can tell me in the comments whether you're willing to do this or not, I'd like you to make a promise that you will never again feel any shame associated with aging. Okay? Dip, dip, dip. Whatever, dip, dip, dip. So tell me if you're willing to make that promise that you'll never again feel any shame associated with aging. Next, I want you to make another commitment that don't deny aging. So don't deny that you're getting older. Don't think in those terms. Instead, embrace it, because it's all about growing. You know, aging is growing. Growing is aging. And keep challenging yourself. So because that will keep you moving forward, and keep turning up. And by that I mean, don't stand in the shadows. Don't ever be apologetic for your presence. Come forward and be proud. Be proud of who you are and what you've achieved already in your life. And use your body language to not be invisible. A lot of women talk about, you know, this worry that they're invisible. And I think sometimes it's the women who were the real stunning beauties in their youth who then feel invisible. That's my theory, because I didn't get much attention when I was younger, and I don't get much attention now, but therefore there's no difference for me. I don't feel invisible. I don't feel that there's any change in my visibility. But I think if you were a great beauty and you were used to having a lot of attention, and then, you know, that slackens off, then maybe you do feel invisible. But is that really what you want for the woman that you are now? Do you really want to get that kind of attention, or would you rather have attention from exactly the sort of people that you would like to have attention from? But anyway, I think a lot of it is about body language. So if you're standing proud, then I think you won't be invisible, you know, and you can wear bright clothes, or, you know, have purple hair, or whatever you want to do. But if you shrink into the background and maybe your posture's a bit down, then you might be invisible, because it's easy to overlook you, isn't it? I'm just going to quickly check the comments and see if anybody said anything. Lisa Lott says, really sorry to be missing this. Why are you missing it? Oh, you listen properly a bit later on. All right. Thanks for joining us anyway, Lisa Lott. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Oh dear. Lisa Lott, I'm guessing. Is it something like that? And Laurelie, no shame. Yes, you are right. Ageism should be treated the same as racism. Yep. Absolutely. Everyone deserves respect. Are there any informative articles on menopause? What to expect and biology behind it? Oh my goodness, Laurelie, go to the Mutton Club website. We have encyclopedias on the menopause on there. Okay. Oh, I'm hyperventilating here. Yes, lots and lots. In fact, we were listed on the Huffington Post as being in the top 10 websites in the world for resources on menopause. So just head on over. So it's themuttonclub.com. Okay, so themuttonclub.com afterwards, and we have a whole section on menopause, loads of stuff there, so go and have a look. Laurelie also says, some people don't want the attention for their beauty. I would rather be noticed for my intelligence, and I think women should focus more on their intelligence than their looks. I'm inclined to agree with you, yeah, and certainly at this age, yeah. But also, you know, who we are and our soul and the beauty that is within all of us, you know, beauty in our eyes and our smiles and our faces, you know, that light up with that inner glow. So, right, next up, we're going to move on now. Now that I've done my soapbox on ageism, we're going to move on, and we're going to work quickly on how to potentially dream big. So, I don't know about you, but now that I am, well smack into midlife, I see much more death around me. 5 of my friends have lost their mothers in the last 6 months. Maybe it's the age we're at now. But whenever there is death or illness in my life, I'm reminded of just how precious each day is and how much more I want to do. So I just feel that procrastination is no longer an option for me, however hard I can try. And my goodness me, I've got a PhD in procrastination. But where do we start, especially if we still don't know exactly what it is that we'd like to be doing with our lives? We still don't have that big idea, that driving passion. So first off, I'd like you to get a piece of paper if you have one handy and just jot down some ideas on it. Let's think creatively. So let's take a moment, and you might like to close your eyes for a moment, okay? What I want you to imagine is that you have a magic wand, and money is no object, and you have no commitments, and you are free to do whatever you want with whoever you want. So what would you do? And if something comes to you instantly, then tell me in the comments, or write it down on your paper. And what would you do if you had no fear? Is anybody going to tell me? Is anybody going to be brave? So where would you be? What would the weather be like? Who would be with you? What would your life feel like? Sort of try putting it on, posing in front of the mirror. It's like a big coat. This is your new life. You're going to put it on, pose in front of the mirror, seeing if it fits. So try and visualize the whole scenario. What can you smell? What can you hear? You've all gone to sleep. No, don't go to sleep. I know there's a delay. I have to wait, don't I? So is this the life that you would really like, or is it still somebody else's life? Or does it have your name stamped all over it? And if you're watching this on the replay, why not hit pause on the video and actually take a few moments to do this exercise? Laurelie says she would travel to the Galapagos Islands and help with nature conservation. Oh, wow. Can I come too? Who else wants to share what they'd do? But hopefully that is showing you just how easy it is to dream big when there are no limitations. It's about blocking everything out and then just dreaming big. And then, it might feel massive and unattainable, but if you chunk it down and put it into steps, then who knows? Maybe you'll end up in the Galapagos doing nature conservation. But I would say start by finding something to do that scares you, because that is going to challenge you and really push you outside your comfort zone, which, as we all know, is where the magic happens. So I've decided that I'm going to learn to scuba dive, and I have always been petrified of the notion. My second husband is an avid scuba diver, and he managed to get me to wear a snorkel and a mask and to go in the water and do that, even though I was rather scared because we were in the middle of nowhere. We were just getting out of a boat. But I didn't. For 11 years, I've said no to scuba diving. I've said, no, not doing it. And part of the reason for that was because I had really, really bad eyesight. But then about 6 years ago, I had laser eye surgery. So I've really got no excuse now. I think I'm just going to have to bite the bullet. So my commitment is that I will no longer let fear be the reason for me not learning to scuba dive. It may not be convenient. It may be too expensive. There could be any number of reasons, but I'm not going to let fear be the reason that stops me doing that anymore. So that's quite exciting, isn't it? So is there anything that you are fearful of that you think you could just say, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Why not? Okay, so let's try another little exercise. And this one's called the rocking chair test. So I want you to imagine yourself as an old woman. You're sitting in your rocking chair. You're in the garden or on the front porch or on the deck or whatever you've got. And you're going to make yourself comfortable and you're going to take a look back over your life. Okay, you're going to look back as far as where you are right now, wondering, what should I be doing with my life? And then I want you to ask yourself, what if I never blank? And then fill in your blank. So what if I never, what? What would that be? And if you never blank, how would you feel? How would your life be different? Do you regret not taking the chance? Will you always wonder, what if? And then while you're sitting there, rocking your day away in your chair, does it feel like something is missing? Is there a sadness or longing or even an unanswered calling? And now turn it around the other way so that you're asking your older self, how do I feel being you in the chair about the choices I've made and the life I've lived? What are my regrets? What do I wish I had made time for? Who do I wish I'd made time for? And what do I wish I had tried? Tell me what comes up for you in the comments. Hello, Jodie. You'll have finished your novel. Fantastic. How lovely to see you here. Hello. Who else is going to share? Who else is going to share? So you have finished your novel, or you will have finished your novel. That will be what you wish you tried to do. Which one is it? What do you wish you tried to finish your novel? Now, I bet that little negative angel is sitting on your shoulder, maybe saying, I can't do that. That's preposterous. You know, well, that's where a bit of positive thinking can help. And you know, don't you, that you can actually change your thoughts just by thinking different ones. Well, duh. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But not so in real life. But this is really important. You don't need to believe your own thoughts. Your thoughts are just thoughts. Just because you think them doesn't make them true. It took me a long time to learn that. So in the same way that I don't want you to accept the prevailing narrative about older women, I don't want you to necessarily accept the prevailing narrative inside your own head. Because if it's negative and it's limiting you, then it serves you no purpose at all. Has anybody here got an affirmation? I used to think this was complete mumbo jumbo, the whole idea of affirmations and visualizations. But I've learned that they are incredibly powerful. I now know that successful athletes use visualization all the time. They see themselves on the podium with a medal around their neck, and then they use that image in their heads to push them towards their goal. So 3 years ago, I did a course designed to get me back to the real me. I came out with an affirmation that I designed for me, and I was encouraged to say it regularly, say it often. And 2 years later, I can genuinely, honestly say that my affirmation has come true, which is just amazing to me. I never, ever would have believed it, but it really has. So has anybody tried that? Jodie says, I'll be very sad if I don't get it finished. Better get on with it then. Anybody else want to share? No, you're all being very quiet tonight. No, well, you're not. Currently, right now, you weren't earlier. So perhaps you're thinking, well, it's all very well for Rachel, but what can I do? Do you remember I warned you about staying open to stuff in video 1? Perhaps you simply have no time. Let me tell you about Rachel. She's a mother of 6 children. 6 children, and 2 of them are adopted. She dreamt big, and she has built an amazing business teaching online entrepreneurs like me how to build a presence on Facebook. She makes money messing about on Facebook all day. I don't know how on earth she does it, and she runs her empire from home. Or you need money to create something. Well, Melissa loves walking. She loves going for long walks, and she's created a vibrant online community connecting women around the world who also like to walk. And she's not making any money from it at the moment, but it's already a global community, and it's fantastic. And if you like walking, go and check it out. It's called Glamorax. Maybe you don't have the talent and skills to do what you want. Well, Jo, like me, was always hopeless at sport as a girl, and went through life believing she was rubbish at it. I was always picked last for the sports team. It was very demoralising. But a desire to start exercising in water after a knee injury led her to try stand-up paddleboarding for the first time in her early 50s. You know, as you do. And now she does it regularly, in the ocean even. I think that is so, so cool. And maybe, as other people have mentioned, you know, in this workshop, maybe your family won't support change in you, and they'll struggle with, you know, you trying to make change. And changing the status quo can be difficult, and those around you may be wary of a different you. But that's not a reason not to try, because it's your life after all, isn't it? And aren't you a bit long in the tooth to still be living someone else's? And perhaps you think you're too old. Well, Alice decided to become a teacher in her 60s as she wanted to start giving back her expert knowledge of dressmaking. And Dorrie Jacobson is, I think, just amazing. And I featured her on the Mutton Club website. She needed a new challenge at 80. So she set up the Senior Style Bible, all about senior style. And she is very stylish too. And you know what? She's a former Playboy bunny girl. And at 80, she's set up this whole wonderful magazine about senior style. Fantastic. So what's stopping you after all? If you work on that self-belief from workshop 1 and those limiting beliefs, then potentially nothing at all is stopping you. Susie says, I want to be brave enough to do my first live Facebook feed. Oh, Susie, shall I tell you how I managed to do it? I can't remember the lady's name, but she had an introverts go live to thrive challenge, and it was a week. And I had never done this in my life before, and I was scared shitless. I was completely petrified of doing it, and yet everybody told me I had to do it. If I wanted to grow my network, I wanted to grow my community, I had to come out from behind the Mutton Club website, because I hid for 2 years. I didn't come out. I didn't want it to be about me, but increasingly people wanted to know my story and why I was doing this. So I did this challenge, and I found it incredibly difficult, but I did it. And I did it, I think I went live every day for 5 days, and she told us how to do it. Basically just, you know, having thought through what you want to say, having a sort of, you know, a hook up front, and then what your points are going to be, and then what you're, you know, going to do at the end of it. And now I'm doing this now, but literally, let's see, I've only been doing it for about 6 months. So yeah, it's so go for it. I'll try and remember the lady's name, but it was definitely an introverts, because I am highly introverted. It was an introverts challenge. So maybe if you'd search on introverts go live to thrive challenge, you might find it. Anyway, so let's do a quick recap of what we've covered today, because it's quite a lot, isn't it? I seem to have been gabbling forever. In fact, I'll just have a drink. Hang on. It's so lovely that you're all here joining me tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. So first of all, we saw a whole new way to embrace who you really are and move ahead to personal growth. You can use what you've learned here today to immediately help you deal with your own negative thoughts about yourself and aging. Plus, you found out how to tap into your dream, even if you've forgotten how to, so you know what you want to aim for. In the last workshop, we talked about the importance of getting exercise into your life and how to create new habits. And I mentioned at the beginning that I had a little gift for you. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get this link, and I'm going to put it in the comments. And then I need to work out how to pin it. Excuse me, coming down here. Just disappearing. I couldn't see the thing. Now it's pinned, so it should be at the top. Sorry about that. I'm standing up, as you can see, so I'll move around. So now that, what is it? It's this, which is a habit and activity tracker. And you can print this out and have one of these per month, right? So you've got a section for month up the top. And then you've got habit or activity. So what this is about is if you want to create a new habit or you want to do more of a certain activity, the best way to make it a habit is to track it, is to schedule it and then measure it. I learned that in the corporate world, but it's very applicable to your personal life as well. And then we have a column here for your target, how many days a week you would actually like to do this. And then we have the days of the week across here. And then, you know, what was your total? Did you meet your target or not? So you could print this out, stick it on your fridge. You've got week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, and then print off another one for the next month. For example, what I've got on mine is I've got meditation, I've got running, I've got stretching, I've got kettlebells, because I'm trying to remember to do kettlebells, and I tend to forget those. Those are sort of kettlebell swings. And then also on mine, I have wobble board. And I'll show you my wobble board. Here's my wobble board. This is the wobble board. And you stand on it and you wobble. So you have to hold on. But the reason why I want to be doing the wobble board is because I need to strengthen my ankle for the running. And I want that to be a habit. So that's what I've got on mine. And I set myself a target for each one. So stretching, I've got to do it like at least 3 days a week. So, and then you can tick it in. So there you go. That was that. That was my little gift to you for that. I hope you like that. Have some fun with it. So it's been a jam-packed workshop. So make sure you review your notes and put this into action right away. And your tracker should help you do that. So tell me in the comments, leave me a comment what you thought of today and what action you're going to take. Let's make a commitment. Let's have some accountability. So tell me, what will life look like a year from now once you've applied all of this? Knowing how to get clarity and prioritize your wants and needs absolutely helps you feel more excited about the opportunities to come. It enables you to thrive. It enables you to get that jump start that we all want. So what does that look like for you in a year's time? And get clear about the impact it'll have on your life, the lives of your family and those around you. So let me know in the comments. And if you found this video useful, please share it on Facebook, Twitter, or even just share a link with a friend or tag a friend in the comments, and then they should be able to see it too. So I'm just going to see if we've got any questions or anything. Laurelie says, wow, I love that tracker. Oh, thank you. I thought it'd be good. That sort of came to me after the last workshop, and I thought, yeah, it's such a simple thing, but it works. Susie says, love it as always. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. That's lovely. Brilliant. So in the next video, I'm going to show you the entire blueprint that I've prepared so you can map out how you can begin to really jumpstart your midlife. And it builds on everything we've talked about today, but most importantly, it outlines everything from when you're questioning what life holds for you to mentoring others potentially and empowering them to not be defined by age either. And I believe it's the most valuable session in the whole workshop series. You'll walk away with so much clarity about how everything fits together, and you'll see the areas that are most important for you to look at right now. So if you're feeling a bit lost, this will give you the exact path to map out how you can really begin to thrive. And if you're feeling okay, but you're still looking for more, you want more from life, then you'll learn the specific steps you can take right now to amplify the momentum you already have and keep that momentum going. Plus, you'll identify a few things which are likely holding you back. I'm including a PDF download of the entire blueprint, so you'll be able to print this out and use it as a roadmap to map out how to proceed. So the next video is all about equipping you for long-term success and giving you the big picture strategy for making the progress that you're after. But for now, I'll leave you with this. Just by learning what we covered today, you're one step closer to your ultimate goal. It really is powerful stuff. I know I said in the first workshop video, even if it sounds simple, stay open to it, because sometimes the most simple stuff is the most powerful stuff. You just need to be reminded of it and remember it. So you'll be able to get clarity on what you need to focus on to start living life your way. And you and I both know it's so much more important than just that, because it means you'll have more confidence and more tools to help you progress. And that's what really matters. And for you to see that you're progressing, that you're growing, that you're expanding, that you're moving towards whatever it is that you might want to be doing with the next stage of your life. So take what we've covered here today and start putting it into practice. Maybe you're just in the beginning stages, or maybe you can apply it right away. The key thing is to get moving. So you'll want to take these small steps which will get you where you want to be. So next up, in the next workshop, I'll share the blueprint which will help you get clarity on what you need to focus on. I'm excited just knowing what a difference this will make. And I can't wait to see you in the next workshop session. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope it's been useful. Please let me know what you think in the comments below. Share it with a friend if you think it'd be useful for them. And Stacey's just joined. Hi, Stacey. I'm just about to finish, unfortunately. But unless you've got something you'd like to say. Susie says, I don't think it will take me a year, but it will look like being more confident and embracing my superpowers of authenticity and vulnerability to live my best life. Yeah, authenticity and vulnerability, very, very powerful, very powerful. And for years, I was a square pin in a round hole. I lived somebody else's life. I didn't do what fulfilled me. I didn't do what made me happy. I was unhappy. I didn't understand why I was unhappy. I was made redundant 3 times. I was got rid of 3 times. It's hardly surprising now, because I realize I wasn't doing things that played to my strengths. I wasn't, doing what I was supposed to be doing. And I feel much more that that's what I'm supposed to be doing now. This is what I'm supposed to be doing now. So thank you very much for joining me, and I hope that the tracker is useful, and I hope you can join me. The next workshop will be on Thursday, same time, 7 o'clock in the evening GMT. So yeah, and it will be on the Magnificent Midlife from the Mutton Club page as usual. So hopefully you should be able to find it fine, and I look forward to chatting with you again then. So thank you very much again. All right. Bye-bye.